So anyways, as I was saying, Wednesday, Curly and I go for a run, come back. Had to take garbage down, garbage pick up Thursday. Knew it was going to get cold this weekend, so I thought, well, I better clean the chimney for the outdoor wood burner.
Yeah.
So I get the brush out, get up there, clean it. Wife's talking to me on the porch, I'm talking to her, and I'm going to clean the cap.
Yeah.
I took the cap off to clean it. So I'm going to clean the cap. So I set the brush down, and the way the outdoor wood burner is set up, it's right next to my porch, about 2 feet away, and it's one good step down. You can step on the porch railing, and it's a good step up to the roof of the outdoor wood burner. So it's about 3 feet down to the railing.
Yeah. Don't tell me you missed.
I stepped off the wood burner. I was wearing an N95 mask, brand new one. Because when I clean that pipe, I don't want to breathe that shit in, right?
It's pretty nasty
Trying
stuff.
to live, as long as I can. Well, that N95 has a lip that comes up about a half inch below my eye. It blocked my vision looking down at that railing.
Yeah.
Didn't even think about it. I'm talking to her. I go to step down, miss the railing, fall off the roof of the outdoor wood burner, land on the railing 4 inches below my hip, on the edge of it.
Oh, that had to feel good.
Caught myself on the grill because the grill's just on the other side of the railing. Knocked the wind completely out of me. My right foot is still up on the roof.
Oh my God.
Look at my ankle.
Wow. Nice.
From the shingles.
Yep, from the shingles.
Tore my ankle up.
Oh, man.
I'm doing the splits. I landed right on my femur. I thought I broke my femur. It hurt so bad. It knocked the wind out of me because I landed on the grill. She's, oh my God. I'm like,
let's call 911.
Yeah, she's freaking out. I'm like, I'm trying to get my breath. I'm like, just give me a minute. Just give me a minute. Oh my God, are you okay? Do I need to call someone? I'm like, just give me a minute. So I I got one leg up on the roof of the wood burner. I'm laying down on the edge of this railing.
Ouch.
So I kind of scooch myself up to where I could sit on the railing. And I still think, I thought my femur was fractured. I'm like, it hurts so bad.
How's it feeling now?
It's feeling better today.
Yeah.
But, so I roll off the railing onto the front deck there.
Mm-hmm.
And we got some chairs. I limp over, I'm like, holy shit, is this thing fractured?
Right.
Sit down in the chair. She's like, oh my God, do I need to take you in? I'm like, just give me a minute. Just let me breathe for a minute,
Get your breath.
I had to catch my breath because it knocked the wind out of me.
Wow.
So I got my breath, and I'm like, so I stood up, and I'm like, holy shit, it hurts. Any pressure on it, I'm like, is this thing, did I have a hairline fracture?
Right. Yeah.
Man.
I mean, it's not hard to give yourself one.
Right. So
especially when you start getting a little bit older, bones ain't quite as, pliable and strong as they used to be.
Right. But
oh my God.
Showing it on the camera.
Yeah,
I can do this. Showing it. Look, no bruise. Look.
No bruise.
No fucking bruise.
That's crazy.
Dude, how is that possible?
Well, I don't know. Man, you should have a nasty bruise, I would think.
It hurts so bad. I couldn't barely sit down to get in the car to go to work the next morning. To try to, because I couldn't really put pressure on it. How is there no bruise?
Have it hurt that bad and not have a bruise. Wow, that's weird.
You know how high it is.
Yeah.
I missed. My leg went down between.
Right.
Landed on the corner of the railing. 4 inches below my hip.
Yeah, I would not have wanted to make that fall. So both of us were a mess this last week then. Huh?
No bruise.
Wow.
I think that's a testament to the healthy lifestyle, right?
That's what I would say,
my body obviously
just heals quick,
right?
And, cellular regeneration at optimal levels. I
took a cold shower that night.
Yeah.
Which is pretty normal, but I really let the cold water pound.
Yeah.
Right on that area. But I thought for sure when I get up tomorrow, the next morning, Thursday morning for work, I thought for sure it was just going to be freaking black and blue. Because even when I got out of bed, she's like, "You gonna be able to go work?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, yeah, I'll be all right." And just walking to the bathroom in the morning, I was like, "Oh shit!" Like any pressure down, that was weird. Like stepping on it, it felt like.
Well, I mean, that's when it's kind of when you are putting pressure on that bone, right? When you put your weight on it. Yeah.
It's still sore to the touch.
Sure. It's just funny you don't have a bruise.
I know, it's fucked up, isn't it?
Wow, that's crazy. Well, I'm glad you didn't get hurt worse.
Yeah, because I thought, what if my right foot wouldn't have stuck on the shingles?
Oh God.
And I would have went down between and hit my head on that railing.
Yeah.
Because that would have been.
Yeah, you might want to put like a
that would have been about
there,
13 feet down if I would have went between the wood burner and the railing.
You break your neck at that distance.
Right. Yeah, if I would have hit, like, if my right leg would have slipped off too and I would have came down and hit my head on the edge of that railing.
Maybe you should, on the side of that.
It's just, what are the odds? I've cleaned that chimney.
Bolt a step there.
I've had the outdoor wood burner for like 7 years.
Yeah.
I've cleaned that chimney 100 times. Stepped down on that railing.
It only takes once.
I know, but in the winter with ice on the roof and shit.
How many guys follow the tree stand that they've been hunting out of for 10 years?
I know.
And it just takes once.
I never, like I said, she was talking with
me. Especially like that. You've been doing it so long, you get complacent with it and distracted, and you know what I mean?
Like I said, I think it was that N95 blocked my vision when I looked down because I had that little flap that came up off my nose, so I just happened to not.
Mine was, they did the MRI, so they seen all the old injury, some new injury, so there was a new tear, and there was a bunch of gassing fluid buildup, and that's what was crushing it so bad. That was some of the worst pain I think I've had ever. But a bunch of steroids later, and it's feeling a lot better. So
that's what I was asking what they do for it.
Just treatment with medications right now, and then get me prepped for surgery. So
they give you like prednisone or?
Oh man, it was a whole list of stuff.
I know.
Yeah, it'd take me a minute to recall them all, but
that's fine.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I got to get in line for surgery now, but with any luck, it'll at least hold off where I can ice fish a couple of times before, you know. That'll pretty much euchre any winter activities. That's gonna suck, but.
Oh, you started your left hand for.
Yeah, I mean, true, but I'm trying to hook and reel at the same time. I don't know. Put it in my teeth and crank it in. I don't know. I'll figure out a way.
Right.
Hook the fish, hand it to the kid. Here, you reel
put
it in.
Pinch your the rod handle between your knees or something. Reel with your left hand. Luckily, they don't fight super hard that time of year. A little lethargic in that cold weather.
And whoever fishes with me can cut the holes with the auger and all that shit. So, yeah, I'll figure it out. I'll make it work one way or another. So yeah, it was pretty interesting. Anyway, some X-rays and MRI, and they were like, "Man, son, this really does hurt." And I said, "I told you it was funny." The doctor was asking me, I've noticed. Everybody's so worried about drug seekers anymore. Like, you go in with shit and it hurts bad. Before they used to, they'd give you a painkiller. And now it's like, they're giving me some, I won't say what it is that they're giving me. Good stuff, though. And, they give it to me in IV, and she says, it's not enough to take the pain away.
Mm-hmm.
We're not trying to take the pain away. We're just trying to ease it a little bit.
You're just kind of dull it.
Yeah. Which before, they'd give you a shot of that shit to make it not hurt,
Right.
So then the doc comes in and he's questioning me about, history with, have I ever had this kind of pain med, that kind of pain med. I go through a couple. Now, I'll be honest with you. Here's the trap for me. I'm an emergency medical technician. I have been for a long, long time. I've had some long-term injuries, so I've dealt with painkillers throughout my life since I've been probably 18 years old.
Right.
No, I've never been an addict to opiates or anything, but they question you. They're trying to determine whether you're a drug seeker when you go in there and you hurt like that before they get the MRI results and the X-ray results. So I don't want to always answer everything that I think because that's what they would think. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not.
They're looking for drugs.
Yeah, like if you know too much about it, like I know. Okay, for an example, if I go in and they're gonna give me something for pain right away, I know because I've been through so many surgeries, so much shit in the past. I know morphine will make me sick. Usually I get nauseous, and if they're not quick with the Zolfran, I'll vomit. But Dilaudid, I won't. When you go in, they ask you that shit, and then you answer it honestly, and they're like, "Man, you know way too much about this shit." And then they don't take you serious, you know.
Right.
So he's asking me questions, and I answer a few. Am I holding back a little of my knowledge? Yeah, because I don't want him to think like I'm some professional drug addict.
Right.
I was in healthcare for a long time, and I'm experienced in it with my own history. So I laugh. I said, because I hurt so bad. I just wanted to choke this doctor. I'm like, I don't know. I'm not a fucking expert in this.
Right.
And he laughs. He pats me on the other shoulder. And he says, "Yeah, don't worry. I'm not an expert in this either. I just got the lab coat, And he made a joke and laughed and walked out. But they did. They hooked me up. They dulled the pain down enough, Gave me some shit for anxiety for the MRI because, so many MRIs I've developed. I'm claustrophobic to beat hell now, man. Like I don't know. Stick me in that little tube, like. I can barely tolerate it anymore. So, they got me back, feeling better. So, good doctor. In some ways it's hard because I don't blame them for wanting to screen people and see. But give them the X-ray, MRI. If something hurts, look and see first, and then make a determination whether or not you should take this patient serious. It's just I think they kind of do it backwards a little bit and. It's such a staunch difference from what it was even 10 years ago, 7 years ago, when you'd go into the ER and, you hurt, like, here's an IV, here's something for your pain. Even if you were a drug seeker, by the time that shit wears off, you'd have had your MRI, your X-ray, your examination, your physical. They would have been able to determine whether or not it's legit, and at that point, well, okay, shame on us. You got 2 milligrams of morphine, but you're not going to get any more, haha, because you're a faker, right? And I think you can usually look at vital signs, which this comes from experience. People who hurt, typically their vital signs reflect that. Blood pressure goes up, pulse rates go up.
Wouldn't the same be said for people having an anxiety attack because they don't have their drug?
I guess if you're going through withdrawal, maybe you can get definitely shocky. You know what I mean? Cool, clammy, sweaty. And look at I understand that these guys are professionals at this shit. They know how to fake leg pain. I don't even know that they are faking it sometimes. Sometimes I know with my mom was a cancer survivor who eventually it came back and she passed, and she hurt, and when they changed her meds around, like, it wasn't just withdrawal, like her body really hurt from not having those narcotics, waiting for the new ones to build up in her system. It was terrible because there was hardly anything that you could do to help her in those transitional periods. Sometimes they'd go back and they would just dope her up with what she was on, and then that would help, float her over until the new ones really started to take effect. But I remember she at one point, Vicodin is obviously one of the popular drugs that people take when they hurt, back pain, neck pain, whatever. They had switched her over. Like she was taking enough morphine at the end, like a junkie. But
I think that's different than.
Well, for her, sure, because I mean she's at that point hospice. But what was remarkable is she got really sick, and my sister and I think it was my sister and I caught it that she was going through withdrawal, even though she was taking the morphine because she had stopped taking the Vicodin. We give her the Vicodin, man, she dried right up, pinked right up. I mean, I'm not saying these drugs are not bad.
They're fucking
sure,
horrible.
They're horrible, and what they're not. They're not horrible. They're fantastic. They help people. What's horrible is that pharma knew that this shit was highly addictive, and they lied about it. They covered it up. They gave doctors free trips all over the world to prescribe this shit and intentionally hook people on. You know, morphine and cocaine and things like that have been used for heroin forever to help people who are in pain. And if it's managed right, I mean, drugs are wonderful, right? They help us, but
you're not doing a good job convincing me this is a good drug.
I don't think there is a bad drug. You know what I mean? Like that.
It's highly addictive.
Aspirin can hurt you,
aspirin
right?
isn't addictive.
I cannot take. Yeah, but when you have chronic pain and you have to take something, right? Like my mom probably got an extra year's worth of life. That I took her hunting the last year she was alive in a wheelchair, pushed her out in the woods November 15th because of those medications. The medications didn't kill her, the cancer did.
We're talking about two separate things here.
No, we're talking about the same thing.
We're talking about someone at the end of the life that needs to be comfortable.
No, we're talking about the med.
The addiction doesn't matter.
Not what someone does with it, right? I'm specifically talking about the medication is not evil. It's what people did. It's like saying a bullet's evil because how many people were shot in Chicago?
I'm shooting myself with bullets. We're talking about two separate things.
I don't.
If I get in a car accident and a doctor knowingly gives me a prescription for a drug that he knows I'm going to get addicted to because I have back pain from a car accident. He's not giving me naproxen. He's not giving me ibuprofen. He's not giving me a little morphine drip to get through this back injury. He's knowingly given me Oxycontin, whatever, that he knows I'm going to get addicted to.
Well, the morphine's addictive too. So,
but if he gives it to me in a controlled situation in a hospital, limited. When he gives me a bottle,
is what I said, it's what people did with it.
When he gives me a bottle and sends me home, knowing odds are I'm going to get addicted to this, even after my back pain's gone.
Because it wasn't managed right. So again, it's not the med, it's what the doctor did, what Big Pharma did, lying and not letting people know that, okay, you can't just take these, like give people a big pill bottle full of this shit to take home because they're going to get addicted to this. And it was done on purpose to make shit tons of money, right? They sold people their health out. So it was what the people did with it that was evil, not the med itself. The med itself, it's like saying that the bullet that killed someone, that the bullet's evil, and it's not the bullet's fault. It's the guy who had the kid that robbed somebody.
I think we're saying two different things here.
I think we're saying the same thing actually, because I agree with what you said. Like
you're knowingly prescribing me something that I am not going to be able to control. The overwhelming odds are that you're going to give me this thing to manage my back pain because you get to profit off it. And I'm going to end up addicted to it.
Right.
Not any of my control at all. I can't control that I'm going to get addicted to it.
Right. But it's not the med's fault. It's the doctor, because had he managed that, or had Big Pharma...
So how does he manage
had the same way, like you said, limited amount that you get, right? And they have done some good things where... Like they scan your driver's license now when you go to a pharmacy and you're getting any sort of pharmaceutical that's a narcotic, right? So that it's going into a system and they can make sure that you're not just going from one doctor to another, from one pharmacy to another, loading up. So they can give you enough of this to knock your pain down, dull it down like they did to me in the ER. They didn't snow me out. I wasn't all stoned and high. It just knocked the pain down some, so it was manageable.
Right.
Tylenol for the average person is not going to cure your back pain.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So you need something stronger.
My doctor had shoulder surgery from a mountain bike accident. Because we got into this conversation about pain meds and how much ibuprofen you can take.
Right.
And he told me he had never taken any kind of like an Oxycontin or anything.
Right.
And this guy's he's a physician.
Yeah.
DR. So he said he had the shoulder surgery. They gave him prescription. I don't remember what I don't even remember what it was at this point, but it was definitely one of those. And he said I'd never taken one, so he said I thought I'd take one. He said I took one, and he said I flushed the rest. He said I knew right away that if I kept taking these, I wasn't gonna stop taking them. And he could prescribe them to himself, right? Because he's a doctor. So he ended up taking. And I'm not going to say it on here because I don't want anybody to take this as medical advice, but he ended up taking ibuprofen in a large quantity because we got in the conversation about aspirin, Tylenol, ibuprofen, safe levels, and he conveyed to me what he thought was in the safe levels based on research and then his own experience. And even after that shoulder surgery, it was enough to manage his pain with ibuprofen.
Well, I would say he's kind of lucky because, like right now, I can't take ibuprofen. Yeah. Obviously, I had kidney cancer. I had half a kidney removed, so Motrin and the anti-inflammatory drugs like that are really hard on kidneys. So I have to take Tylenol. I'll be honest with you, Tylenol will barely get rid of a headache if I have one. Now, that's from years of, I've had a bad back since I was 16. I was in a car accident. I have herniated disc in my lumbar. What do you do with someone like that? You know what I mean? Like Tylenol at 16, maybe it would have worked for the first few months, but eventually, like everything else, you build a tolerance to it, and you need something stronger. So I would say, if a doctor can manage these narcotics, you have a choice. You either live in the pain, you live with the pain you have, and your quality of life sucks, or you risk being a little bit addicted, but at least it's in a controlled addiction, and they're not just letting people like buy bunches of this shit and OD on it or sell it to the neighbor kids to get high on. As long as it's managed, this is one time where it kind of not overreach, but overview like management. I'm kind of okay with, because I still want access to some of these drugs myself for my quality of life. I don't want to not be able to ever hunt again because my back and my shoulder hurt so goddamn bad. I can't tolerate it, so, and not everybody gets addicted, right? I took garbage bags of Vicodin for years because of my back, and I went into the doctor one day and I said, this shit's bad for my liver, so is there a non-narcotic medication I could take that would replace this? And so they kept me on large amounts of Motrin, ibuprofen, and they gave me a medication. I think it was Ultraset or something like that. And the combination, my back hurt worse, yeah, but it was manageable. I could deal with it, so I did for years and years and years. What damage did that do to my kidneys? Maybe that's why my kidneys weren't optimal anymore, and I developed a cancer in there. I don't know. For every benefit to a medication, there's an equal negative side effect to it. Even aspirin. Every medication has a bad side effect. I don't think we can blame the med. I think we got to blame the people that abused it. And not the person that got addicted unknowingly. That's not what I'm talking about. When I'm talking about abusing it, I'm talking about Pfizer giving out plane tickets after plane tickets after plane tickets to doctors to fly them all over the world on these extravagant vacations if they prescribe these meds. And for a while, there were doctors that didn't even know how addicted this shit was. And yeah, they overprescribed the hell out of it, no doubt. But it's what they did with it that's evil. It's not the drug itself. The drug's necessary, like
maybe.
Now, if you go in there because your ankle hurts and they can fix it with a little Tylenol and an ice pack for a couple of days, you don't need Vicodin. I agree, but that's up to the doctor that's managing your care. But if you walked in there with arthritis all over your spine and you're only 40, I mean, what do you do at that point? Do you just go on disability and lay on the couch and get worse and just die? Or do you take the medication and go outside and throw the football with Tommy? I'm going to take the medication.
learn how to lead a healthier lifestyle so you're not dependent on medications. I watch doctors all the time that talk about people that have RA, rheumatoid arthritis, and they just manage it with steroids from the doctor. They go and get their shot once a week or once a month, whatever.
Steroids are
but
pretty
they don't
cool
stop
too.
eating sugar, which we know is an inflammatory. They
Sure.
don't change. They don't stop eating carbs. They don't
Right.
change their diet. They don't, because people that say, hey, I don't want the meds, I want to see if there's another alternative. When they really want it, they end up finding that they can reduce almost all the symptoms of RA without any medicine. There is no correlation. This study was just released not too long ago. There is no correlation between taking meds and being healthy.
Right.
There is no correlation that the more meds you take, the healthier you are. You're managing symptoms that could be managed
you're
better.
managing symptoms.
You're with a healthier lifestyle. I know I had a herniated disc last month in my lower back.
Right.
I know I did.
Slip back in, did it?
It must have. It took a month.
Right.
I didn't take a pain. I told you I just fell off a roof 2 days ago. I didn't even take an ibuprofen.
But I don't know that everybody can pull off what you've done. People can improve themselves all the time. Everybody can improve themselves, but I don't know that everybody can be what you've done either. You know, they can make themselves better.
Anybody can.
But I think that people are just genetically different. And
I
think that's really disingenuous to say that to people, to give them false hope.
It's not giving them false hope.
I think you are if you tell someone that, you know, where we live, the kind of society that we are here versus people around the other world, like everybody's a little bit different. And I think genetically, some people are more predisposed to be heavier than others, right?
I get that.
Some people have broader shoulders, some people don't. Some people are 6 foot, some people are shorter. I don't think everybody can be, 5'11" and a half, a $165 to be able to run 15 miles a day and be like optimally perfect. Like you have your body in about as perfect condition as you could get. You've worked hard. I love it and respect it, but I don't know that everybody could hit that. Like me, I'm a bigger person now. I can run, and I've proved it. And I ran. It took a little while, but I was running 5 miles a day. Right. Will I ever run 15 like you? Maybe I won't run that far, but I improved myself. I can make myself better and healthier. Would I ever be as thin as you? Probably not. I'm just a huskier guy. Well, right now I'm a fat guy, but I just think that I don't know. That's hard. That's really hard. And I think to tell someone that they shouldn't be given a medication, that they should just get on the treadmill, like I don't know that that's very nice either. I don't know why you can't have a combination. Like that's what I'm doing with my doctor right now. I said, hey, these are my problems. I don't want to fix everything with a medication. I'm trying to have a healthier lifestyle. I'm changing my lifestyle. I'm not dieting. I hate the terminology of diet. So I'm trying to use a combination of both,
Tell me how. That guy is my motivation. Yeah. What I'm showing here on the screen for people that are just listening is David Goggins. How does a guy go from 300 pounds to Navy SEAL running ultra marathons, running 215 miles?
What was his lifestyle,
He made the decision one day.
It's more than making a decision. It's the ability to be able to do it. What's he do for a living? How many miles a day did he have to run? How many hours a day did he dedicate to this perfect fatigue that you're showing me right now? Does he got 3 kids at home? Does he got to take his kids to soccer practice every day? And that's what I mean by everybody's life's a little bit different. Not everybody has even for me, I have a 2-year-old. You don't. Right. You know what I mean? So for you to find that minute to run might be a little more convenient. Maybe it's even worse for you.
I have to get up at 3:30 in the morning.
Maybe it's even worse for you.
I have to work a 10-hour physical day in a shop. And
My
then,
day's physical too, by the way.
and then,
It doesn't start. I don't have to get up at 3.
right.
But I
I'm at
chase a
3:30
2-year-old around all
a.m.,
day.
10-hour day, and I still do it because it's in my
Right.
eyes. I have to. There's two
Right.
options. It's this or an early death. I
Right.
don't see another option, and I'm
Okay.
scared to hell of dying.
Right.
And when I see someone like this, like a David Goggins, that goes from 300 pounds to that was a choice that he
Now,
made.
what about the 300-pound guy? I'm 300 pounds, by the way, so me and him look real similar.
Right.
What about the 300-pound guy that just doesn't have the lifestyle to be able to do that, right?
I think it's I don't.
Now he's demoralized
see,
because maybe he could get better, but now he ain't even going to get better. You know what I mean? Because this is where we got to be careful, because you can demoralize someone and take all the wind out of their sails so fast, and then they just accept it. Then they're back to eating McDonald's every day and just accepting an early death because they couldn't pull off what that guy did. And I don't think everybody is genetically able to do that. I don't believe that every human being is able to pull that off.
See, and I believe every human being is.
You know,
It's very difficult. It's not easy. I understand that.
I have a person that I love that has a big ass, for a lack of better words, a ghetto booty, man, and I watched this person work her ass off, harder. She worked as hard at it as you do yours. There's not a doubt in my mind. CrossFit, holy shit, man, a miracle. What where she started to what she did, and never got rid of her ghetto ass. Had it her whole life. She's gonna die with it. Now, I watched other girls join the fitness gym and shape an ass right off in 6 months.
Right.
You know, my ex had a big old ghetto ass for a while, and you know, got rid of it. Hell, by the time she left, her ass was probably flat, if anything. But this other person, no way. It's never gonna go away. Now, was she healthy? Yeah. Could she run 5 miles? Hell yeah. She could bench press more than probably any other girl that I know. You know, she did burpees and squats and thrusts, and it was CrossFit. She did it every single day for years. And her ass never went away.
Well, she was missing something in her diet. There was something going on. It's a math problem.
She did carbs. She did.
It's a simple math problem.
Well, I think it's more complicated than that. I think we're all supposed to be a little bit different. I don't think we're all supposed to look like that guy.
But we can.
I don't think so.
It takes work, no doubt.
I don't think no matter how hard I work, I would ever have those abs that he's got.
I 100%.
Could I have strong abs? Yeah. You know, could I have abs that don't currently have a hernia right now? Sure. But
that's one example of thousands I could bring up.
But I could bring up hundreds of thousands of people who tried that didn't.
Then they were lacking something. They didn't. There was something.
I don't agree, man. I think this is one me and you are gonna disagree on that one. Yeah. But I do believe everybody can improve themselves. Sure. Yes, and everyone should work hard at it. Yes, I agree. I'm working hard at it.
Because I think too many people in this society, like you're talking about, are just like, doctor will give me something. I'll just go get a pill for that so I don't have to put the work in. I think there's too much of that in our society.
I think depending on how bad your body's damaged, you know what I mean? Like, I think maybe sometimes you need a mixture of both. That's kind of what I'm doing. There is no miracle drug. There is no pill that you're going to take to make it all go away. But, if it's managed right and you have a good doctor that's really looking out for you and not just trying to get some, timeshare in some island somewhere, tropical island, I think they can do a really good job of helping you with your lifestyle changes and some medication. We've been using medication since there's been humans, whether it was tree bark or some poppy leaves. That's where Big Pharma got all this shit from. This was given to us in nature for a reason, and it is natural, and it's okay to take it. I don't have a problem with people smoking medical marijuana. I don't even have a problem with people smoking dope, anyways. But like there's some benefits to it. But that you shouldn't rely solely on that either. You know what I mean? That's like relying solely on a diet to lose weight, and then people fail all the time, right? Because they don't put the other pieces in it too.
Well, for one, they think of it as a diet. Like, this is just
Right.
something I temporarily have to do to shave 50 pounds, and then I can go
Sure.
back to the shit I was doing.
Right.
It's a lifestyle change.
But
It's
I
saying,
think
this is what I'm going to do going forward.
I'm
If I
trying to
want
set myself up for success though. And if I set myself up going, I can do exactly every step this guy did, and I'm gonna look exactly like him. And then when I don't, you know what I mean? Like
then
it
that's where
bombs
you got to
my
go.
attitude.
What did I do wrong? What do I need to correct?
Why is
Where
it
did
I
I
did
get off
something wrong?
course?
Maybe it's just I'm different. You know,
We're gonna
maybe
have
he's 300 pounds and 6'2", and his shoe size is 11. Mine's a 13 wide. You know, there's a reason why we're all a little bit. I think it's okay to be a little bit different.
I'm not saying it's
Shape,
not okay to be different. That's not what
just
I'm
be
saying.
healthy about it. You know,
I'm saying, like I said, I have a friend that has RA,
right?
and I send him Dr. Berg videos all the time
Yeah.
when he does a new video on managing RA symptoms naturally.
Yeah, I think there's a lot you
And
can do to help
I
yourself.
look over. He's still smoking Marlboros.
Right.
He's still eating donuts in the morning and cherry pies and shit and drinking green monsters.
I guess.
And then the RA.
Right.
No, I sent you videos on ways to reduce some of these. It may not fix it,
Right.
but doing the same thing you're doing and not trying to do something different.
I think there's a lot you can do to help yourself. I don't know that you can, cure everything with.
I'm not saying we're all going to look like David Goggins. That's not my point.
And
But
we're all going to live to be the same exact age.
I do find a lot of motivations in people like him.
Right. And I don't want to steal your motivation.
To say if he can do that, that shows how much I'm lacking and how much more I have in my tank.
Right.
That if he can do that, if he can pull himself. I bought my daughter his book.
Right.
And she was just fascinated by his life and what he did. And I think more people could use it as an example of, even if you never achieve that level, you realize how much more ability you have.
Sure.
When you think you've reached your full, this is all I got. No, you got so much more.
Right.
You got so much more than you can even. It's all in your mind about how much you have to keep going.
Right.
That's all it is. And whether it is, diet or it's exercise or it's sleep or whatever it is, it's so much
all
of
the
it
way
is
around. You
wrapped
got
up
to
in
try
your
to be
mind.
healthy. It's it's your quality of sleep. Like it's all of it, right? It's all the pieces. And I just don't believe that medication is evil any more than I believe a bullet is. I think it's the application of it that can be evil or good. The medication they gave my mom extended her out quite a bit, and we got to make some really good memories before she left. I appreciate that. The bullet that saved someone's life because someone broke into a house, I appreciate it. I want to be the best version of me. I don't want to be that guy that you pulled up on the screen, right? That's him. That's his life. I don't know anything about him. If he has kids, if he's married, does he work, or does he just get on Instagram and that's his living now is working out like The Rock. You know what I mean? Like Dwayne Johnson is a beast. I watch him on Instagram, right? I follow him and I watch his workouts and the shit he does amazes me. Like I'm like, God, this guy is just and I love him as an actor. I always did. Like so he's one of my inspirational people, right? That I watch, but I also know that this guy's a gazillionaire who has the best personal trainers, the best access to the healthiest food that's not fucked with, bunch of GMO crap. He has the time to be able to do it. And I know before he does a movie, he's going to take 6 months and do nothing but eat 7 dozen eggs a day and work out. And whatever home life he has a maid, a nanny, a girlfriend, a wife, a mistress, and a sports car. I'm not going to be able to replicate that in my
For
life,
every
you know.
one Dwayne Johnson, there's 100,000 guys that have a family that still maintain a healthy lifestyle. Cameron
Right.
Haynes.
But I'm saying,
Cameron Haynes. Well,
define healthy though.
Cameron Haynes. Another example. Runs a marathon a day, 26 miles a day. He just retired after 23 years of working a full-time job. He has 3 sons, a wife, a house.
Yeah. Does he live in a city? How far away are the marathons? He's running a marathon every day.
He runs a marathon
So
every day.
are the marathons? They got to be.
No. He gets up in the morning. He runs 6 miles.
Runs his 6 miles.
On his lunch break, he runs another 10. After work, he runs the other 10.
What about people that ain't allowed to leave on their lunch break? You know what I mean? And that's what I mean by you can't.
Okay, so you can't do it on your lunch break. I'm not saying you can run a marathon a day. I'm just showing an example of an individual.
Before I went off on medical, was I was on shift work.
Yeah.
Days, nights. You know, that changes things. Like, I just think you have to be fair and say everybody is unique. So their obstacles that they're facing are unique. Everybody can improve themselves, but not everybody's going to hit the same exact destination, or all of us would be 6'2", 180 pounds, blue eyes or brown eyes or green eyes, with a beard and a full head of hair. You can grow full head of hair. I can't. You know, that's life.
You're trying to justify one thing with another.
No, I'm saying be the best version of yourself. Don't try to be someone else because you're gonna fail. I could never be you. You know, even when you said you weren't healthy, I always considered you healthy. And there's a big difference between me and you, right?
Right.
Like, the transformation you've been fantastic, but I would have taken you 10 years ago.
Right.
Even. You know, I always considered you healthy then, even though you had some unhealthy habits. Yeah, but still, you were a pretty healthy guy compared to a lot of people, you know. So I think I don't want to demoralize people, and I'm trying to be careful by.
This isn't shaming anybody.
You know,
this is trying.
That's easy to say from your side of the desk. From this,
you're right. It is. You know? It is a different level for everyone out there. I get that. But to say that nobody can achieve that unless they're a multi-billionaire that just has all day to focus on that, I think is disingenuous too. Because I think that's setting people up for saying, well, I shouldn't even try because...
No, I said be your best version of you. Don't be Dwayne Johnson. Now, if you can be, great.
Right.
But the guy that runs the marathons,
right.
You know, what does he look like? Dwayne Johnson? Is his thighs this fucking big? You know, like, I mean...
I don't think Dwayne Johnson's necessarily. I don't think Dwayne Johnson's necessarily healthy just because he's muscular.
Well, some people consider him healthy. Now, some people wouldn't. Again, now, you know, he obviously thinks that's his best version of himself. Right. He puts a tremendous amount of work into it. And if someone could replicate his exact lifestyle, they could probably replicate the same exact results. But I also know, like, look, some people just math comes to naturally. Some people got to work a lot harder for it. But I do understand that not everybody's going to be an A+ in math, no matter how hard you work. Now, can you be better at it? Sure. But I don't want, what I'm trying really hard not to do is demoralize someone from not trying. Because you can improve yourself and you can be better. I'm proof of that. Like, I've overcome some big odds to be able to pull off what I do, and I'm not done yet. I'm going to push myself further to be better, and I'm excited for my future to see. I want to hit those goals plus some. You know, I want to go further than my goals, and we'll see what happens. But I definitely don't want to set myself up for failure either, thinking that I'm going to end up being exactly like someone else. I just want to be the best version of me, and I'm not right now, and I can be better. You know, so I mean, we agree on most of it, you know, diet, exercise, not even diet. Like I said, I hate that word. Just a healthier lifestyle, right? Extend your life out. Like, I don't want to die prematurely either. And I almost have a couple of times now. So, you know, being unhealthy, does that increase your chances of cancer? Hell yeah. I believe that 100%. You eat McDonald's every day, you're probably going to get cancer. If you live to be 100 years old, you're probably going to get cancer. You know, it's just.
When I hear people say, well, healthy food is expensive, so it
can
cheaper for me to buy shittier food so I have more of it.
Yeah.
Well, is it necessarily a bad thing if you don't have as much of it?
Right.
But you're getting a better quality?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Just because a box of Twinkies is $4, but a healthy box of protein bars is $8, doesn't mean it's a bad thing because you got to pay twice as much for it and you only get half as much.
Right.
Right? Like, well, maybe that's a good thing.
Yeah, it might. But I mean that's hard, man. Because I know I've tried to buy healthier food and it is expensive. They don't make it easy because they want you to be fat and unhealthy. They want you in the bright light.
But now you're not consuming as much because it is more expensive, which isn't necessarily a bad thing.
I wish that, I think it would be a better thing. You can't, I don't know that you can eat too much healthy stuff. You know what I mean?
We still got, again, to intermittent fasting. You know, again, I refer back to Dr. Berg with intermittent fasting. You know, it's okay to give your guts a rest. Let your digestive system have a break for an extended period of time throughout the day.
I just wish the healthier food was cheaper, you know, but that's like, what was it, Bloomberg, you know, taxing the shit out of sugary drinks because, and, you know, no large drinks now, you know, is that a bad thing? I don't know.
I think free people should be able to make free choices.
Right.
I'm not saying restricting anybody from anything. What I'm saying is it doesn't improve our society at all. And it's probably why people fucking can't get along on social media because fucking minds are so infected from the shit they consume all day.
Right.
And they're fucking...
Not just media, but food.
Yeah, they got inflammation and they don't sleep enough. And because of their lifestyle, they're that much angrier.
Right.
They're flipping each other off in traffic. I think it's just fucking our whole society.
I'd agree with some of that.
And if it's not, it's definitely not helping.
Yeah, definitely don't help any. If you don't feel good, you know what I mean? Yeah. People who don't feel good, they're cranky and mean.
Think about when you have a cold, right? You snap at your spouse and your kids and shit.
I'll tell you, man, I loved that last year with Mom, but ooh, boy, there were days where she was just, she was a bear.
Now imagine living like that every day. Yeah. You know, like, no wonder our society's so shitty with each other.
Right. Yeah, that definitely,
doesn't
help any.
I think you think I'm going after you in your situation just the other day, and that's not what I'm doing.
I didn't take it personally at all.
I hear this all the time. Well, when it gets to that point, I'll go to the doctor and he'll give me something for that.
Yeah, I don't think that's a good thing either.
For one, it's too late.
Then they're looking for, damage is already done. And they're looking for magic, right? And I don't think they're...
And your quality of life hasn't gotten any better over that period of time. It's gotten worse.
One of the things that I've seen that really pisses me off, though, is when they start treating everybody like a drug addict because these drugs are evil and bad. And now you got, you know, rock candy coming across the border that one bite. You know, 100,000 teenagers last year OD'd on fentanyl and died. Like, wow. But we're going to, you know, like, rewrite laws, shit all over the Constitution because there was 12 people shot in a mall. Mm-hmm. But, you know, this fucking narcotics coming across the border, this fentanyl shit, which some of these people ODing are not just people partying on it, they're people self-medicating. Because their fucking back hurts and their doctor's a piece of shit and won't prescribe them anything for it anymore because they're a drug seeker. If you can take an MRI or an X-ray and demonstrate that this damage is done, then that doctor, by their oath, should take all options available to you and give them all to you and help you through all of them. Manage you. Manage the medication. Manage your exercise. Manage your diet. You know, that every one of these doctors and hospitals have dietitians there that, you know, they could have come in and meet with you. Some of these, you got to understand, a lot of these people have been born and raised in a society where you go to fucking McDonald's for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They don't even know how to cook. And we want to sit here and talk about, well, just eat healthier. And then people go to the store and they buy some fucked up shitty salad that is shit within a day or two of being in the fridge, and you're throwing it away. I don't know how much healthy food I've thrown away over the years because it doesn't last that long, or the shit that's all genetically altered anyways, and we think it's healthy, but is it?
Right.
Is it really healthy for us?
But,
I don't know.
And a lot of those excuses were valid when the gatekeeper still held the key to the gates, right? Now we have the internet.
It's not an excuse. It's a reason. There's a difference between a reason and an excuse.
But now we have the collective knowledge of mankind at most of our fingertips. Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
My shoulders.
Research. I've been researching some meals.
About 3 months ago, my shoulders really started hurting, primarily because of the line of work I'm in.
Right.
It's very physical. I use a lot of my shoulders. And I'm like, shit, even putting my hands behind my back.
Yeah.
Really started hurting just like this on my head like this.
Wow.
I thought, holy shit, if a cop ever, wants to frisk me, it was right across the tops of both my shoulders. It was like, I'd hold it, the longer I held it there, the more it hurt. I was like, oh God. So I'm thinking, what am I going to do?
Were you eating some sugar?
No, I'm like, it's just that work. It's that
repetitiveness.
That repetitive of using my shoulders. So I did some research, and I found out doing bar hangs helps with shoulder impingements.
Right.
So I started doing bar hangs.
Yeah, that makes
every
sense.
time. For 1 minute, guys, and I do that 4 times, and now look.
I want to correct something so that there's no misunderstanding here. Never once has he ever made me feel lesser of, unworthy of being a friend because of our differences. And I don't want to leave that impression. You've always been kind, upbeat, and motivational to me. You're one of my motivational
I want you
people.
To live a long life.
You like I said, Dwayne Johnson's one of my motivators. You're one of my motivators. Curly's one of my motivators. Your wife's one of my motivators.
I want to motivate everybody I can to get healthy because it strengthens our society. If there's a natural
I do not
disaster,
think you're an asshole that just don't care about fat people. So if our little debate here, which is fun, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't leaving that impression. Like, you've helped me tremendously with my health over the years. You've given me a lot of advice and answered a lot of questions. There's a couple more we'll probably talk about after the podcast is done. Some couple of questions I had, just some things I just want to improve on. But the vitamin D's working good. I think I feel a little better. I think I noticed the energy levels a little bit feeling a little better. I'm surprised. A little dinky clear tablet like that.
When I noticed it was was 20, no, actually, the old Charlie Oscar Victor, right? And then I started hearing about vitamin D deficiencies, and hospitalizations, that kind of thing. So I started taking it before I had a blood test. And I did some research, and I found out what a safe IU was, and I exceeded it because it's just me.
Yeah, that's what I did. Yeah, exceeding it.
Then it was the following winter. I didn't know I suffered from seasonal depression.
Yeah, I think we all up here do so much that we don't even notice it.
I didn't know.
It's just normal for us.
My doctor never talked to me about it.
Goddamn cabin fever in the middle of the winter.
Yeah, it'd be about January, and it's just like, oh my gosh, on a weekend, you get out of bed and you're just like, what's the point?
Yeah.
Might as well lay here and just watch TV, just that. Never bad thoughts, just not a lot of energy.
Yeah.
Just like, gosh, it's
just
winter
dragging ass.
And, the sky's just grayish, blue, dark, it's just
no sun.
Snow, and then, so anyways, it would have been the winter 2020 going into 21. I was out plowing the driveway, and I got done plowing the driveway, and I'm like, for whatever reason, in that moment, it just hit me. It's like, holy shit, I don't feel miserable. I haven't felt miserable. I just realized, all that winter, I hadn't felt miserable. I just felt normal through the winter. I'm like,
what a
holy
crazy
shit, and I did a little research. I'm like, I had fucking seasonal depression most of my life.
Yep. Didn't even know it.
Because
you're born and raised here, man.
Well,
it's
no
just
doctor
normal.
ever said, hey,
Right.
Let's check your vitamin D level.
I got a great doctor.
Let's...
Like, I love her. She's been my doctor for a long time. She knows my personal life, and she knows my kids. She's great. And I questioned her about the vitamin D, and she goes, well, this is what I want you to take. Blah, blah, blah. Get this.
Yeah.
She said, especially with winter coming on and, seasonal depression and shit. And then I stopped and I thought, why the fuck didn't you tell me this like 5 years ago
Right.
or 8 years ago?
Right.
I had to ask you, and now you're like, well, yeah, we live in Michigan. Oops. And, you're up north. You're going to, you should be taking this. And I'm like, why? As good of a doctor, because they're not perfect. They're not. So talk to your doctor. Push them a little. Yeah. I had to push her on a couple of things to get her off her ass to do something. And, she did a good job. She's a great doctor.
Even supplementing what I supplement, and you know how much I take, which is more than you.
Right.
My last blood test, which was the middle of summer, I was just in the middle.
Really?
And I run outdoors, but it's still not.
I think that, and that's one of the things that helped me was ice fishing and shit.
Curly's still deficient.
Yeah.
Where she has to supplement.
Yeah, I think when you're up north like this, you just...
Even in the summer, we're still deficient.
Yeah. I think because you're so deficient through the winter that, by the time you hit summer, you're just starting to recoup a little bit of it. Yeah, I think, honestly, I'm going to take that shit all year long for the rest of my days.
And, and obviously she's going to test you, to find out exactly where your level is. And then, she'll adjust it from there.
Yeah.
But...
So, this man is a beautiful, wonderful person. He is my brother. Yeah,
I just want
no
you
matter
to be
how
around
bad
for a
we
long
debate,
time. I'm my help. I do.
There's some heavier people that I care a lot about, and I just don't want to unmotivate them.
Mm-mm.
I want to help them the way you help me.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to watch what I'm doing, and
it takes a long time to. Everybody wants us to be okay,
and it's
I never stop. I'm always watching healthy videos. I'm always trying to learn. I'm trying to talk to other people and find things out. I'm asking my doctors questions. I'm trying everything I can. I listen to podcasts every day on health. I'm trying to figure out. I don't just stop because I'm at a certain body weight and I can run a certain distance. This is good enough. I stop.
Right.
No.
Right. I agree. That's what I said. I got my goals, but I want to go past them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I want to be my best version of me.
And the point of showing David Goggins was to prove to people, like, maybe someone will see that or hear this and look that up and they'll go, wow. Yeah, I might not be able to achieve that, but if I can get halfway between where he was and where he is.
I mean, that's still...
If you can do half of what David Goggins does. Yeah.
Well, the cat's out of the bag that we're in Michigan now. Sorry about that. But they knew we were up north anyways. We're wearing blaze orange, man. Yeah. Guess what, guys? Holiday in Michigan. It's coming. We're wearing our blaze orange in celebration.
Can't wait.
Oh, God, I got to...
Cannot wait.
Plug your kids' ears. I got a raging heart on. Like, oh, yeah.
Yep. Last weekend, went out to the blind.
Yeah.
Got the heater put in there. Got the propane hooked up, lit it up, burn off the cobwebs and the spider webs and shit.
Right.
Got the tripod put in there.
Nice. Ready to go.
Got swept the leaves out of it. I still... It's weird how leaves can even get in there.
Yeah, how in the hell do leaves even get in it? It's like sand. It gets in everything. Yeah. I hate sand. It gets everywhere. It's coarse. That's a movie line, by the way. We'll see if anyone can pick that one up, what movie that's from. It was one of those iconic lines that everyone hated for a while, but now they kind of, it's a butt of a lot of jokes. So, I can't wait.
Monday.
Did
Got
you?
that out of the way.
How'd it feel?
Early night, good. Yeah, I'll show you the targets.
Good.
Yeah, really good.
Yep.
Yeah, everything was good there.
We went out on some private property on the range and lit it up. Yeah, got to shoot my first 308 on an AR platform.
Really?
It's awesome.
Nice.
Oh yeah, I kind of want one now. I admit.
Yeah, so do I.
I'm thinking, man, I kind of got bit by that bug. I was like, shit. Actually, I tried to not shoot it. I said, no, I'm good. No, try it. And I'm like, nah, it's because I knew. I knew it. The minute I touched one off, that was it. Like, I'm going to have to buy one now. So, I don't know. I think I'm going to be shopping. I can't wait. So, we're down to what?
Couple days now.
Couple days, man. A handful of hours.
Yeah.
I love it. There's something just
it's
beautiful to sit out there in the dark, an hour before the sun's up, and you're not out there very long, and usually you can hear some shit crunching around in the leaves, and there's some deer walking around. You can't see them yet, and then you're just waiting, and all of a sudden it's just a touch of light, and all of a sudden you can kind of see grayness moving around, a little blob. You can't tell exactly how big the deer is, if it's a buck or doe. You just know it's a deer. And you're just counting. Come on, hang around. Give me a little bit of time. And then all of a sudden, a mile away, and you're like looking at your watch to see what time it was when the first shot went off. And then, usually, and then
can't see your hand in front of your face barrel.
But they shot it, and then it's. And then the woods get lit the fuck up, and you're waiting. Come on, run through here.
I wonder how many other states. I'm sure Pennsylvania.
I would think,
understands it.
They got.
I wonder how many other states though.
Man, I don't know. I think so many people miss out on that magic.
Yeah.
And then we all do the same shit. We try to count how many shots you hear. Opening morning.
Yeah. Every year, count it.
Every year.
First shot, how many? Yeah.
And sometimes, like you hear so many, you lose count. You know what I mean? There's been opening days that, man, it sounded like World War III going off. Those are the ones I really like the most. Even though
it's usually a Saturday.
Yeah.
It's usually a Saturday where it's bright out. It seems like.
Yep.
Where it's sun.
I can't wait.
And I hear, I know they say snow is good because you can see the deer. Between silhouettes against the snow, and you can see further into the woods. But I think I hear more shots when there's just leaves.
I think the deer move more.
Yeah,
it's darker for them, right?
Yeah,
and they see better.
Yeah,
the grayer, the darker the light, the better they actually see in that. Which was funny because when it's sunny and the sun's up and you're in the tree stand, the deer come in, everyone's like frozen, they're scared to move.
Yeah.
It's like that's when the deer really can't see you.
Yeah.
You're better off moving then. Yeah, it's like they come in there's a reason they move at dusk and dawn, and that's because the way their vision works, that's when they can see the best. That's why they move at those times the most. But yeah, this morning I was an hour before daylight, man. I was up there.
So you're out there like 6.
Yeah. By
6,
right around 6.
Yeah.
I bet you I was in the stand for 5 minutes.
Heard him walking around.
Oh yeah, and I almost wonder if I pushed them out as I was coming in the woods, but they only went so far, and then came right back. And then I was watching them walk around in there, and I could see, like, after a little while, you could see just a blob moving, just that gray blob.
Yeah.
Can't tell what it is. I was looking so hard, and eventually I got the binoculars out and started glassing with that, and it got light enough where I could see what they were with the binoculars. 20 yards away, and I had used binoculars to see what it was.
It's amazing. You stare at them so long, they disappear.
You gotta
look away and then look back.
Unless they move again. But if they stop and you see them, and then they just fade off like ghosts.
It's our vision.
Yeah, it's weird how that works.
It's weird we survived as long as we have.
Our brains. It's our brains. It's not anything else. I mean, we're fragile. Shit, the things I've seen deer go through and survive. Old injuries, you get a deer, you pull the hide off, and you're like, holy shit, man, this deer had been hit by a car a month ago, and it wasn't even limping. Me and you'd be dead, A day later, we'd be dead, so.
Yeah, I was watching a YouTube video, and the guy had taken out the rear leg bone of a deer when he was processing it.
Yeah.
And you could see the leg had been broken
and rehealed.
And then when it healed, though, the bone wasn't
They weren't together.
They were side by side.
Oh,
and
it
had a ball where that blood clot
Yep.
had formed around that bone, and then it healed. So its leg was actually shorter on the one side.
Those animals are amazing. You know, I remember my ex-father-in-law's house, mother and father-in-law's house. They had a lot of deer there, and you could bait deer back then, but they had like a bunch of squirrel feeders, and and bird feeders out. So the deer come right in the backyard, right up against the picture window all the time. Nice bucks, does, yearlings. And we'd sit in there, have coffee and watch the deer all the time. And I hunted his property. But I remember one Christmas, we were there Christmas morning. We were opening gifts. We were having some coffee, and the deer come in. And my middle son was really young. He was probably, 4 or 5. He was pretty young. My ex father-in-law says, "Oh, here's a deer. Get your boy and show him the deer." And the deer were all around this, and man, there was like 15 deer in there eating all this birdseed and shit. And one of them looked really weird, and I looked, it had its front leg blown off. And yeah, and it would stretch the one front leg it had left way out far because it couldn't bend right and balance to get down to eat the seed off the ground.
I never thought about that. Want to tip over?
Yeah, it want to tip over. Having its back leg blown off is one thing, but its front leg, like it couldn't eat. And in that short period of time from November 15th or whenever its front leg got blown off, probably because it was running through the woods and some asshole took a running shot at it.
Yeah.
It learned to slide its front leg out and to be able to get its head down far enough to eat. It was crazy. I'll never forget that. And it was like 4 days later, another one came in with the back leg blown off.
Really?
And that one was still bleeding a little bit, but still coming in and eating. And I just remember the respect I had for those animals. Like,
oh, they're super resilient.
Wow, man, those things are just Superman, just
yeah.
It's that kind of shit that makes people hate hunting, though, like.
Right.
So yeah, slow down. I have walked way more deer than I've ever harvested. I want that good quality shot. I say my prayer every time I go out. Keep me calm, still, safe, successful, lethal, and compassionate.
Watch this video. I got the volume off, so they won't be able to hear it. This cracked me up.
It can be a memory.
It didn't crack me up. It was just like,
or a feeling.
Holy shit! How
stuff out there today.
Some days you just need it. Comfort for every moment.
It's
Snuggle
an
Super
alligator
Fresh
biting another
with 5-in-1
alligator.
odor elimination.
What?
Yeah, they're like feeding it in one of these theme parks.
Yeah.
Look, they're feeding chicken.
Almost looks like the crocodile hunter.
Watch this one right here. See his legs in his mouth? See it?
Yeah.
Like,
ooh, he's doing the death roll. Tore it right off, and then ate it. And that croc's just
like, what?
And then he lays back down like his foot's missing. He doesn't even care.
I'm like, he's just like,
yeah.
All right, I guess that's it.
Yeah,
I'm
gonna have a nub now.
Right.
It's gonna make it kind of hard to swim with one hand, huh?
He didn't bite it, the alligator, or anything.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
He got his front leg bit off, and he's just like, well, I guess that happened.
Yeah, well, that sucks. And then he just laid his head back down like nothing happened. Wow, that's crazy, man. I was in the tree stand yesterday.
It just blew my mind. I'm just like.
You know how you daydream.
You smash your finger with a hammer.
Oh, and Oh, you're down. You're down. You got the man flu for 3 days now. Especially if your thumbnail turns a different color. Oh, it's over. It's over.
He just got his whole foot bit off, and he's just like, all right.
Yeah, whatever. It'll heal. That's okay. I'll get his tail later. I was in the tree stand. You have some of the silliest daydreams sometimes. I was thinking about Bigfoot. Remind me, because my desktop here has got a Sasquatch in there. I'm gonna take a picture of this one day and show everybody. I love that picture. But I was thinking, man, what would you do if you were sitting out here and you actually seen Bigfoot kind of cruising through the woods here? Would you actually shoot him or not? And I thought, I want to fight Bigfoot.
You want to fight Bigfoot?
I want to fight Bigfoot.
Bigfoot's gonna fuck you up.
I wouldn't shoot him. I'd want to fight him, right?
We're going to picture here in real time.
There we go. Yeah. I dig it.
Oh, take the
See,
picture.
we're posing now.
Yeah. There we go.
I want to fight Bigfoot. And I thought, no guns, hand to hand. And then I thought, well, that's a little unfair. How about knife to hand? You know,
Bigfoot's gonna fuck you up even if you
probably. But man, if I could get down low enough just to punch him in the nuts, you know, that's what I would do. I'd sack drive that fucker. Oh, sorry, my language.
Speaking of, that got me thinking too the other day about. Yeah, I don't know if we talked about it on the podcast last week or if we talked about it after, because we talk all the time.
Yeah.
About how cool it'd be to have Ted Nugent on and talk about archery technology.
Yeah, we brought it up.
Was it on the podcast?
Come on, Uncle Teddy, come on with us, please.
No, I was thinking, you know how many people get pissed off when Ted Nugent talks on a podcast?
Oh, God.
They comment, they're pissed off.
He's as bad as Trump.
Someone platformed him, and
yep.
Why would you let that guy talk? He should be silenced. And I was thinking,
because he's brilliant, for one.
I don't know where this comes from, and I don't know how it stops.
You mean?
Yeah, people think they have a right to tell someone else they don't have a right to have an opinion.
Why does your opinion matter then? You know what I mean?
It's just someone's opinion.
Either people have the right to have an opinion, and listen, guys. Okay, I gotta give out the big secret. There's a secret here. Everybody's got a fucking opinion. Even if you shut them down and you don't allow them to say it, they still have the goddamn opinion. You can't help but have an opinion, Let people have their own opinions about shit.
It's got to be that tribal mentality. It's still got to be this tribal thing that still exists in our DNA that, if they hear you talk, more people are going to go to your side.
Maybe.
Maybe I need to get as many people on my side. So
it definitely is tribal.
I need to silence you so I can get more people into my tribe.
I was thinking that about Witchmer. And I'm like, as many signs as I seen for a year, my governor's an idiot. Yeah. That should have been a no-brainer. Yeah. And she got another term. And I'm like, how in the hell does that even happen? And it's tribal. It's just people, they show up at their voting booth and they hit D or R and they're done. They don't really care about.
And you know what? People get mad at the Democrats because they got elected and they control everything now, right? The governor, Secretary of State, the Attorney General, the House and the Senate, right? And they're mad at Democrats. Well, how about you be mad at fucking Republicans for not voting?
They're the ones that didn't show up to vote this year.
Right.
It was a low turnout. Right. It surprised me.
And
it really, I thought it was going to go the other way. I really did.
I knew when I voted it wasn't because there was nobody there.
Right. And I think it was on Tim Pool said it was on one of his YouTube videos. I think they were talking about these girls at a voting location, and the person overheard them say, I don't know who none of these people are. And her friend said, well, just vote Democrat, Yeah. And it's like, they don't give a shit. They're just voting their tribe. Yeah. You know what I mean? They don't know the issues. They didn't take the time to figure out, Roe v. Wade and what that actually meant. Was it legalizing abortion? No. Actually, it was following the goddamn Constitution and giving it to the states. Now, some states may. But even in the advertisements that we watched, that just, man, they flooded you with advertisements. And you look all over social media and just the disingenuous ads that there were. That people caught a snippet or a soundbite, but how many people actually have the moral compass, the moral nuts to step away from their tribe and vote on something because they're going to stand by their convictions? And I'll give you a quick story and then you can go. There's a guy that I drove by his house. And he had a big giant flag out between two trees that said, Trump for prison 2020. And I'm not I am not a Trump fanatic by any measure at all. I'm just not. I think the guy's an asshole. I think he did some good shit, but I think he's an asshole. I drive by this sign all the time. It just pissed me off because at that point I already knew that they had already proven a lot of the shit that they were investigating him on was bullshit. Everyone knew it was bullshit. All they were doing is politically tying his hands and making him look bad because what people heard on the news was he's under investigation again. Mm-hmm. Russia collusion, all this bullshit going on. They have proven beyond measure that this guy's been investigated more than any other human being ever. If there was this much bullshit on that guy, he'd be in prison. No one's been investigated as thoroughly as him. And they found nothing. What is this guy? The reincarnation of Christ? I mean, is this a second coming? Maybe. I don't know. I know the guy's fucking clean. I know Joe Biden isn't. I know Joe Biden has openly admitted on hot mics, on video, doing dirty quid pro quo shit, helping his son out, all this shit in the Ukraine. There is so much. It is a tsunami of information that this guy should be in prison. Whoa, God, he should be in prison. I drive by this fucker's house. You think there's a sign, a flag saying Biden for prison 2024? Fuck no. Why? Because he's a tribal prick. He does not stand by his convictions. You know what? I hate that. That's what I hate about politics. I loathe people like that. You are a dirtbag piece of shit. If you think you can put a sign up like that for one side, but when it's your guy who's way more corrupt, oh, let's just, let's not talk about that. Oh my God. And it hit me so hard that this is where we're at as a society now. That you will let your people cheat, steal, rob, pillage, and rape, and look the other way. Every time, because you're a tribal prick. And I don't want to be that. You know? You're not that way. I'm not that way. Where are the people like us? You know? Where in the fuck did they go? Because I don't know anymore. It used to be there was a lot of people like us, kind of not centralist, but just honest, morally honest with what we thought and felt. Is it that cancel culture, like you brought up, it has beat people down so bad, like no one even wants to be honest anymore and say what they think, and they're fucking sheep now? They just get in line? Meh, go get your bread. Meh.
I think people are scared to change their opinion. Yeah. Because it takes work to
admit you're wrong on something.
To admit you're wrong, or to be a free thinker, to actually do research and find out information for yourself, right?
Yeah.
Like in our state, right? We had one governor that was for abortion, one governor that was against abortion. In the one that was against abortion, they kept running ads saying she's going to outlaw abortion.
Yeah. Back to 1930s.
She's going to outlaw abortion. She's going to outlaw abortion.
Yeah. She was going to restrict some abortion.
Hold on a minute. It was on our ballot. We got to choose whether or not there was... Okay. But people don't go, okay, she's against abortion, and the other side's telling me that if you elect her, she's going to ban abortion.
But the
abortion... If it was that simple, why wouldn't the one that's for abortion just make it legal?
Right. Exactly. But no one put any effort.
No.
You know why? I'll tell you why. It's this shit right here. Everyone's.
It was on the ballot. It was on the ballot. The people got to choose.
You know, and I do this all the time, right? Selfie guy. I'm a selfie guy. I admit it, man. I take good selfies, dude. Fuck, man. I rock that social media shit. But really, I think it's that people. They're fucking Matrix, man. We were sitting by the fire one night, drinking beer when we were really unhealthy, and smoking a couple cigarettes, and I was telling you, it was, fucking internet on your phone, and I was like, man, it's like everyone's in the Matrix, and they don't even know it. They're so just in their bubble. They want to stay in that fucking safe space. It's got to be. It has to be just leave me alone in my bubble. Let me post pictures of our vacation, like our family's so fucking happy, and then you see them 6 months later, they're divorced, and like, oh, I hate it. I wish people post their arguments on there. You know what? My wife's a dick today. Yeah. Or my husband's an asshole today. Like, make it real. That shit, I'd like Twitter. I would dig some of that. I don't know, man. I think you're right. It's sad. I just wish people would bust out of this.
Sorry.
My
point I was making about that is that because of this one issue, they were going to vote a certain way. But they didn't think about 2 years ago when you couldn't even buy paint
Right.
You know, you couldn't buy a mirror for your house because those areas of the store were restricted.
Closed.
You couldn't go fishing.
Yep.
You couldn't do this. You couldn't do that, right?
Right.
But because of this one issue, they convinced them that if this one person gets elected, they're going to do something about this one issue, realizing they don't even have the power to do anything about that issue. That's
and
why
the issue was on the ballot.
That's why it was on the ballot, because they didn't have any power to change that.
And I don't understand why people are so freaking out about restrictions on abortion anyways. Like, look, man, we've kind of touched on this a few times, and I know it's dangerous for men to do, but I gotta fucking say it. Like, there has to be a limit, a line, where we're gonna accept it unto a certain point, and then it's just not socially acceptable or legal to do it anymore. When they want open abortions to the point of birth, like, you're fucked up, man.
Right, but that's the
problem. Why
problem.
not just have the baby taken out and given away?
But
right?
Here's the other problem. Those cases are so rare.
They are.
They are so rare.
But they're trying to pass the laws, though, to support that. And they shouldn't.
But what they're doing is, this is where they keep us divided.
Because you polarize it.
They keep us divided by showing us the extremes on both sides, right? The Republicans are saying they want to abort babies at 9 months. And the Democrats are saying they don't even want 12-year-olds to get raped by their uncle to be able to have an abortion. Right? Nobody's talking about in the middle about...
That's what I meant. That's what I said. Have some reasonable, sit down, have the conversation. Who really wants to murder a 9-month-old baby in the womb? I mean, I'm sure there's some sick fucks out there that do, but it's used to polarize us, to divide and conquer us. I agree 100%. I think 110% you're correct. Let's sit down and meet in the middle somewhere, man. Just, because where does it end? When your kid's a year old and now the mom's having some fucking mental problems, so or your neighbor's kids because you work third shift and the little bastards are outside making all this noise and keeping you up and you're losing your mind. So for your own mental health, I know people wouldn't really do that, but why can't we just meet in the middle somewhere? Because I think you're right.
I think it was in the middle to begin with until it became an issue. I have to believe that the majority of women that have this done is the worst fucking day of their life.
I think so.
I think it's the worst day of their life. There is some extreme right out there, someone out there that don't give a shit and they use it as contraceptive. I still do not believe that's the majority. I think
there's some people that believe, like you said on the other side, that no matter what, you got to have the baby now. If the mom dies, fuck it, it's God's will.
Right.
Like, no, I don't buy into that shit either.
But this is where they intentionally divide us by showing this extreme.
And what happened? Now we got Witchmer. One more fucking rotation. Like, I couldn't believe it. Sad. So much for any hopes of getting baiting brought back into the state. I was really hoping. Oh, that sucks. Not to circle back to hunting season, but it's November.
Again, this is a problem that I see on social media, though.
Right.
People being outraged about shit they really shouldn't be outraged about.
Yeah.
Because it's just an extreme version that they're trying to sell you to keep you engaged and keep you upset and keep you on their team.
Yeah. And I tell you, you and I both used to be a lot more upset.
Yeah.
Than either one of us.
Because I let someone control my thoughts on one side of the aisle.
Right.
I thought, well, if I believe in these two things, I have to believe in everything they say so that
you gotta at least embrace it.
So we're on the same team. Right?
Yeah, it was very much tribal.
Then I started realizing through
like
educating myself that, I can believe things on both sides.
Right.
Because that's where most people are.
Yeah, most people are in the middle, man. Like, I don't care whether you claim to be a Republican or a Democrat. Most people are in the middle. They believe a little of both. You know what I mean? Like, they don't want blue collar workers. Sure, they're part of a union. They believe in a lot of democratic ways of thinking. But you know what? I also believe they probably want their state to be fiscally responsible, to, have some good morals and values too. I don't believe because you're a Democrat that you're purple hair, anti-family, anti-nuclear family, pro-abortion to 9 months. Like, yeah, I think that's a real left-wing, the green energy shit. Like, I think most average Democrats probably don't want to pay $5 a gallon, and they probably don't want to spend $60,000 on an electric car.
Even that extreme example you just gave, I don't care that they share their opinion online.
Right.
I don't care.
Yeah. But
no more than I care. Right. Exactly.
So fuck Twitter, and still, I'm telling you, I don't trust them yet. I'm waiting. I'm still holding back to see what he's gonna do with Twitter and Elon Musk. If no one knows who I'm referring to, I want it to be a fair platform, man. Let everyone voice their opinion, even if you don't like what they have to say. Then debate them.
I listen to people. I listen to podcasts of people I don't agree with, but I still listen to it to really understand my own opinion, to internalize those thoughts, and to make sure I understand why I think the way I think.
Right. Sometimes they remind me of why I think what I do. Right. Sometimes they sway me a little.
Right.
And I'm like, that's actually a good point. I hadn't ever thought of it that way. I'm trying to evolve as a fucking human being. I'm trying to be better.
Right.
And
because I listened to a podcast and they were talking about DeSantis, and they kind of swung me away from him. They pointed out some shit, and I'm like, I'm not for any. I don't even like leaders. I don't like the idea of leaders and this top down.
Yeah, it has to be this.
It feels too much dictatorship. We're putting too much faith into it.
Right.
So I try not to buy in, but I'm starting to think about, okay, we have another election coming in 2 years. Sure. I need to start navigating these waters and vetting these people's backgrounds and their voting records and issues. How do they, So, they were talking some points, and I kind of maybe he's not the right choice, because then I listened to another one. They're like, he got kids back to school early, didn't do mask mandates. Lockdowns were minimal.
I love what he did to Disney.
No forced,
Right. The thing.
Right.
The thing.
So then, I start swaying that way a little bit, right? That's why I like hearing about different opinions, because now at least I'm making an informed decision.
Well, yeah, you're making an argument in your head instead of just going with the flow.
Which is what I used to do, right?
Right? You're debating it back and forth.
You used to listen to Fox News, and if they said this person, then okay.
Sean Hannity said this, then boom, I'm on it.
I gotta go vote for this guy because they said it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, man. Fox News really hurt my feelings.
So,
ooh boy.
Now
lesson learned.
Now I have access to all these opinions and all these facts.
I listen to people I don't like.
Right.
Like this person, I'm like, I really don't like this person at all, but I'll listen to him. I'm gonna entertain anything.
Whatever changed inside of me, right? Because I used to like to listen to people I agreed with.
It's easy,
right?
Then, right?
But something changed to where I'm like,
it makes it uncomfortable when
I don't know if I found out they were being disingenuous or they were manipulating information. I don't remember what the one thing was.
I think with me it was just I argued so valiantly, and I articulated the most bulletproof arguments. You could not beat me in a debate about the war on terrorism, and I think I got humiliated so bad. I was so wrong on that. Like, I said, that will never happen again.
Right.
Never again. And the Patriot Act, oh God, I remember just wanting to throw up going, you were my hero, man. Like, you're not a Ronald Reagan. You just, like, and now I'm learning things about, like, even Lincoln and just, man, it's, it maybe wasn't such the hero that we propped him up to be. I mean, history's written by the victors, right? So, but I think it was 9/11. I was so, dude, I'd have grabbed the rifle and went myself. And I thought, never again and will I be so easily manipulated. I was, you know what it is? I was shocked because I'm a smart person. I was on top of all of the issues, all of the angles, and even the back and forth. You know, I liked Hannity and Combs because I like to listen to them argue back and forth. Sometimes I really sided with Combs. I think it was a little unevenly matched, right?
Yeah, it was definitely set up to
sway you. But even through that, I could see through some of that fog. So I considered myself a well-read, well-rounded, straightforward person, you know? And if I believe something, I put a lot of thought into it. And I would make fun of the sheep, you know, because I was a shepherd. I ain't one of them fucking sheep. And I found out I was a sheep. And how easy it was to manipulate me. I was stunned. How easily it wasn't that hard to manipulate me.
Right.
As smart as I thought I was, you know, it was they did it. I fell for the same shit that everyone else did. I was right. The war wasn't about oil, but it was. I was like, how could I have fallen? Like I was in the breadline, man, with everyone else. I didn't even know it, and I thought it scared me. Is what it did. It scared me, and I thought, you know, I have a family dependent on me, you know, and I don't want to. I try to teach my kids to be independent thinking, strong-willed, honest, hardworking people. How can I teach them to do these things if I can't even, you know, if I'm getting swept up in the soup with everybody else, you know? And I made a deal, man, like, slow down, dude. Think about it. Just fucking think for a little bit. Don't be emotional. Just back out. Give yourself time. Like how I taught you about the truck, the salesman, and, you know, walk away from the deal. If you want it, great, but walk away. And if you want it 2 hours later and you're down the road, you're eating a fucking Big Mac and you don't have the guy going in your ear, then go back and buy it. Give yourself that time. And that's what I try to do now. And you know, I'm not perfect. Sometimes you catch me getting a little bit, you know, tribal on some shit. Sometimes I gotta light a fire under you a little bit. You know, I think we balance well because of that, you know. It's world. It's crazy. It's just, I was telling my middle son about and he had learned about it in college, but we were talking about the rats. And Tim Pool brought it up, the rats in the bucket. 5-gallon bucket of water, you drop a rat in there. It'd swim for 10 minutes, it'd drown. Drop a rat in there, swim around for 5 minutes, you pull him out, dry him off, put him back in there later on, he'd swim for 12 hours. Why? Because you rescued him. So you gave him hope that if he just holds on long enough, sooner or later you're going to yank him out of there. And I thought, man, that's amazing. Just think about that for a minute, you know? False hope. And then you wonder how many times they do that shit with us. You know what I mean? And then I thought about the Rat City, and I was telling my middle son about the Rat City. He goes, yeah, I learned about that. They built the city, and they had adequate space for every rat. They lived in harmony. And they started adding rats. And as it became overpopulated, they started to notice behavioral changes in the rats. They started to steal. They started to steal from each other. And after a little while, a few more rats. Then they started to form gangs, where there were actually little gangs of rats that would fight each other. Then add some more rats. Then they started to murder each other. They started to rape each other. They started to become homosexual.
As they got overpopulated?
As they kept adding rats. And it was like, wow. And then you think about how cities are versus like rural areas.
So we haven't adapted to living that densely yet.
Right. And I always kind of contributed it before, like, well, people don't go out in the rural area and fuck around because, you know, Jim Bob come out on the porch with the double barrel, like, you know, Joe Biden says, and rack off a couple of rounds. But no.
Super irresponsible. Do not recommend ever doing that.
Jesus. Yeah, please do not. You're going to prison if you do. I always kind of contributed to that, but really, I think it's density.
Mm-hmm.
You know, more than anything else. When people had, or when the rats had adequate space, they coexisted fine together. It's just, you know, I like these studies like that. They just
Mm-hmm.
kind of fascinate me. I was watching a documentary last night. I'm gonna finish it tonight. I think it's Ancient Apocalypse on Netflix. I think it's called. And exactly what I said, man. They're rewriting history. Like humanity is way older than we ever thought, and a lot more
Mm.
advanced. They're finding like real.
Which documentary is it?
It's called um, Ancient Apocalypse.
Is that the Randall Carlson?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Him and Graham Hancock were just on Joe Rogan. I just
Yeah,
listened
just
to it
on
the
Joe
other
Rogan.
day.
Yep.
Yeah,
Oh
Randall
my
Carlson.
God.
Dude, I listened.
Mind blowing.
Yeah.
Like
That's
advanced
funny.
civilizations in the middle of the fucking ice age.
Yeah.
And I've been
What,
saying this, man.
12,000?
I am tooting my horn today like a
12,000
mofo.
years?
Yeah. They
Somewhere.
said some of those.
BC, right?
Yeah.
12,000 BC?
22,000 BC? Holy shit. You know, when they thought it was like 6,000 BC was like the, you know, where it kicked off, and it's like, no. And then, but he was talking about the flood.
Yeah.
How.
Yeah, the erosion on
Mm-hmm. How in was it Indonesia? I think it was, and their history of the flood. And then he went through, so I'm going to go back and rewatch it tonight because it was just fascinating. The Chinese, the Mayans, the Christians, the Muslims, the Buddhists, like he went through every one of these, the Greeks, the
Mesopotamians? Jeez. Mesopotamians.
Mesopotamian. Man, I cannot talk today. I just want to hunt. They all have their stories of the Great Flood and how, you know, like 2 of their people survived to repopulate the earth and shit. And it's like, look, guys, this is before this shit was written, before these people had contact with each other. Like, obviously, and now we can prove it with, you know, geological studies where there's water now where it used to be land. Like the sea levels went way up.
What are they saying, like 400 feet?
400 feet in the middle of the ice age.
Shit.
How does that happen? That's backwards to the way it should be. That there was a giant flood. It was a catastrophic event, and that's why people, these ain't myths. These are memories.
Yeah.
And it was just mind blowing, man. Like I love it, and we're in a fucking loop, man. I'm telling you, we're in a loop. We get to the top, and we get arrogant, and we're asshole kids that not obeying the Father, and then he smites the earth and starts over.
What I found interesting is where he said that the people that have the knowledge, right? Like let's say him, right?
Yeah.
Randall Carlson. Like he said, I can't survive. Like he has no surviving skills.
Right.
So he would go live with hunter-gatherers if there was a apocalypse
Yeah.
now, right? And he would be the knowledge sharer, right?
Yeah.
They'll try to pass some of that on.
And it was cool. One of the other things, the points he made that I really loved was, well, because one of the things that like archaeologists and shit would use, these scientists, to try to disprove it is, well, we know at this time frame, humans were hunter-gatherers, right? Well, they're proving now that you can have hunter-gatherers and have another community that's advanced, and them live in the same time periods. And they use today as an example, when they went through different tribes in parts of Africa, all over the world, where a lot of these people live hunter-gatherer lifestyles still. But then you look at New York City, you know, just Times Square alone. But then you can go into other places of the world, and there's still people living relatively those simple kind of lifestyles like that. Sure, they did it back then. We're doing it right now. I thought, man, this is amazing. I love it. Like, the more I learn about that shit, the more questions I have, the more fascinated I get. Like,
and the Younger Dryas impact and all that stuff is controversial.
Sure.
I mean, there are, you know, and that's why these guys are speaking out the way they are, because the current geologists
are against it.
Completely sane.
Yeah.
So there is, you know.
No one, again, circling back to, no one wants to be wrong. No one
Right.
can admit that they were wrong.
Right.
Why can't you just say it's science? Follow the science. Said, why can't you say this is our best knowledge to date? This is what we believe. Now, if there's evidence that changes it, then good. Then we change it.
They should be open to at least looking into it. And what, they're like banned from all these. They can't even go to certain places.
That's criminal, man. That's not science.
Because, like you said, why are the gatekeepers holding the key to humanity's past? Why? It's not theirs. It's all of ours, right?
It belongs to all of us.
Right. Our history, it belongs to all of us.
For sure. So, yeah, that was just something I wanted to throw in there because it reminded me of that.
I haven't watched the documentary yet.
Oh, it's good
because I just listened to the podcast.
It's good because they go on site.
Yeah.
And you get to see these places. Like, I wish the world was just better. And I want to travel to some of these places so bad. I'd love to go to Athens and, go to Rome and just see the Colosseum and, these ruins, to see them once in real life. I love watching them on TV. I'm grateful to have that technology, my phone, whatever, internet, that I can look at pictures of it and, daydream about it. But, man, I would love to just go to Egypt once and, look at a real obelisk, like, and the hieroglyphs that's, carved into stone there. The world's a pretty amazing place. Humanity's pretty amazing. I think we forget that sometimes, and people act like little assholes, and that's unfortunately what we're seeing a lot right now, is a lot of assholes,
This has nothing to do with what we were just talking about. You're talking about documentary, and I was just thinking, I was laying in bed this morning, I woke up like 5 o'clock, couldn't sleep. So I turn on YouTube on the TV, and I'm laying there watching TV, and I'm going through my recommended videos.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, it's iron workers working on the high iron.
Oh.
Like 55 floors up, and they're setting these beams.
Yeah.
Oh, God. I got so warm I had to take the sheet off. I was like, I got so freaking nervous watching them.
Oh, God.
And for whatever reason, I was telling you, I do those bar hangs for my shoulders, and I'll close my eyes, and I'll just imagine, like, for whatever reason, just to freak myself out, or I'll be like, because my eyes are closed, I'm hanging, I'm like, God, what would I do if I was, like, looking down, and it's, like, 40 floors straight down. Wow. Like, those guys hang on those cranes.
Right.
Those...
Well, I can tell you, if you were ever rescued from that, you'd hang on for probably 12 hours.
I don't know, because I freak myself out so much I gotta open my eyes. Because I can't feel the ground, I'm hanging there, and I start imagining myself hanging from one of those tall cranes, 100 feet up, and I start freaking myself out, I gotta open my eyes.
I want to puke just watching it on TV.
I do too. I get butterflies just watching it in my stomach.
I was watching those guys, what was it, what the fuck one was it? It was one of the towers there in New York. They were building, the Empire, I think, maybe. And they were showing video footage, just the way they would throw these rivets around.
Oh,
and the way they would jump from one beam to another, like,
now
fearless, man. And then I wonder how many people actually really fell to their death while they were building that building.
Who knows if we even kept accurate records?
Right.
You would think we would, but I don't.
Like the guys that's got to get up on top of the Big Mac and change those lights on the top of the Mackinac Bridge, like.
But now it's so safe. Now the safety standards are so high. I don't know that.
I still wouldn't even want
to
get high up.
Like I said, I get crazy watching.
I don't like heights. How I even hunt out of a tree stand's a miracle,
Yeah.
Between being scared of heights and then being, heavy, like gravity pulls harder on me than it does you. So if we fall, I'm gonna fall harder, faster, and it's gonna hurt worse. Yeah.
The tree stand only bothers me. Here it is.
Yep.
The tree stand only bothers me like the first time I get up there for the year.
Yeah.
Then I kind of get my tree stand legs.
Yep.
And then I'm fine the rest of the year.
It's just as long as it's one of mine that I put up.
But you know what I find?
It's an Aldi thing.
Yeah.
I think my biggest platform is 20 inches.
I have here in my possession a brand new and improved My Fat
but once I get up there and
let's walk through
again, yours 20-inch platform. I got 13.
The other thing, I want you to watch this video, and I wanted
that guy's standing
so
up.
high. God, it's so high.
Oh, I'd throw up. Just looking up while they're bringing the beam in, I would throw up.
It's so high. Oh, man.
Those guys are just...
Now,
you got balls, man.
They are tied off.
Yeah,
which is,
feathered
but
down.
still, that's...
But still,
Look at all the way down
you
there.
know, 800 feet in the air. I don't care if you're tied off or not.
Anybody watching, just search on YouTube.
Yeah.
But what I found, see the legs?
Yeah.
Like how they...
Clamp on like that. Yeah, lock on. Like
Well, I want to find...
weird.
I want to find...
Shit right there.
I know people that are listening are like, really?
Yeah.
But
right.
I want to find...
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of heights. You know, when I was young, it never bothered me. We had a couple big pine trees in the front yard, but one of them was huge. And I found out if I climbed to the top of that damn thing, I could see, like, it seemed like you could see around the world. But, you know, it was probably, I don't know, a mile or so.
Look how they climb it.
Look at how they climb this. Yep.
What does that remind you of?
A monkey.
Pine tree, right?
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah. They climb trees that way, too.
Right, and then this guy...
Those lumberjacks.
This was the other one I was watching this morning, too. Look at that.
You can actually see the curvature of the earth. They're so high that you can see the curvature of the earth.
This one doesn't say how high. I'm sure if I read in the description.
But
that was the one that I found fascinating was how he was climbing and then how they lock in their legs to hold on. Look.
Shit.
No, they're bulging. But look at his body posture and his... Look at the way his legs are and his arms are, right?
Man,
what does it remind you of?
It does look like a primate, really.
Isn't that crazy? That's the first thing I thought when I said, well, first thought I was, God, he's gonna fall. But then the second thought was, wait a minute, really? How much different is that than when we were in trees?
That's probably why they're
Look at his legs.
Well, I'd get to the top of this pine tree and, you know, I could see quite a long ways away, you know, over a mile.
Anybody looking for the particular video we're watching? It says John Teal TL Local 401. Check the video out.
It's crazy. And I remember getting up was really easy, but coming down, one day I was coming down and I was looking for the branch and I went up so smooth and I couldn't find the right step, the right combination of how I got up there. And I remember I got a little panicked feeling.
Yeah.
Like I was stuck, and all of a sudden I wanted to hug that tree.
Mm-hmm.
And it never bothered me before that. So eventually I kind of hang lower than what I had getting up, and I got my footing, and I got down, and I thought, wow, that was kind of scary. Well, the next time I went up, all of a sudden coming down was in the back of my mind, so I didn't go up as high. Because I knew I had to come back down, and I never had that problem before until, you know, the day before that. So I was coming down and I was scared. And again, I didn't find the right combination. And my foot slipped and I fell. And I hit a branch on the way down and it spun me, feet up, and I pow drive the ground right head first. And I remember laying there, it knocked the wind out of me and it paralyzed me. And it seemed like I was laying there for an hour. I couldn't feel my legs or nothing. Now, honestly, it was probably only a couple of seconds. But it scared the hell out of me. And after that, man, no way. And you know, now listen to this. I'm a firefighter. And I'm afraid of heights. And I'm claustrophobic. Yeah, go figure. You know? But yeah, it was falling like that. So the first time I ever hunted in a tree stand, I wanted to throw up. Like, I remember I climbed halfway up and then I climbed down. It was a ladder stand. And I climbed halfway up and I climbed back down. And on the third attempt, I finally made it to the top. But I wouldn't quite climb up into the seat. I just kind of stand there at the top of the ladder, holding on. And eventually, man, I was shaking so bad. You know, I got to spin around and sit in the seat. Didn't take long though. I guess the love of hunting for me was enough to work to overcome that fear. Like, man, I ripped right up one of those tree stands, a ladder stand. They're easy. and I'm big and clumsy, so that's why I use ladder stands. They're a lot safer for me. But man, I climb right up there without hesitation, without like. It's crazy. I was thinking about it this morning. It was funny that got brought up because I climbed up. It's dark in the morning. It's pitch black, and I never, climbed all the way up, got all situated, unpacked, spun around, sat down, never even thought twice about it.
And you couldn't see the ground?
No, hell no, you couldn't see.
Is that why you think? Because you couldn't see the ground? Is that
no, I think that makes it worse, or at least it used to for me. If I could see the ground a little bit, it was like. Almost not being able to see it was like, worse because you'd fall into the abyss or something. Like you couldn't even see your feet. So, yeah, good question. But no, I don't think it's that. I think it's just doing it for so long. And that particular tree stand's a 2-man. It's huge, and I don't tether off in that one. Now I have a single that's a really nice tree stand. It's really super comfortable, really small platform. I use a safety line and harness with that one. I should with this one too. So please do. If you're gonna climb up a tree, be safe about it. Don't be a dumbass like me. It only takes falling once, and
Yeah, my friend fell. He was putting the tree stand up, and he strapped it in, got up there to stand on it to set it.
Oh, and it
broke.
Oof.
Fell, broke both his wrists.
Yeah.
It wasn't funny when his mom had to pull his wiener out so he could pee every time, because he had 2 broken wrists,
I had that happen.
Like,
I went through that humiliation at 25 years old.
I wear a safety harness every time I get up in that tree. The first thing I do, I climb up, tie in, pull my bow up.
Yeah, and I got a great harness, and the safety rope gets tied to the ground, to the tree above me. I got my safety knot, and I just slide it up as I go up, and then once I'm up there, I disconnect and I hook onto hook my carabiner onto the safety strap there.
I don't have one like that. I should get one like that.
It really is nice. It's a nice system. I'll bring it over and show it to you.
Yeah. I should get one like that.
You'll like it, and then, it's easy. And like I said, on that single,
just that way you're protected all the way up.
Yeah, all the way up.
I don't tie on until I get in the tree.
Right, because when you're going to fall, typically people fall getting in and out.
Right.
That's when you fall.
Step and stand,
So that way you're tied in the whole way up. And I started that, I think, 3 years ago. I started thinking, same thing, man. I want to live, there's still shit in this world I want to do. So I don't want to just be dumb and fall out of a tree stand. This particular one, it's huge. It's a big giant ladder. Yeah. And once you're up there, like I said, you couldn't jump out of that thing. And it's big enough you probably could play soccer. I bet you I could play hacky sack up there.
Is that the same one I shot my deer out of?
Well, it's the same size, but this one has bucket seats.
Oh, okay.
It's a little different, but it's the same size. Okay. Yeah, big giant. This thing has cup holders, bucket seats. It's pretty nice, but
bucket seats.
Yeah.
What is that?
It's got bucket seats instead of a bench seat.
Oh, like a
but they're mesh.
Ice shanty.
Kind of like the ice shanty, but they're mesh seats.
Oh no shit.
Yeah, it's nice.
They got backrest on them.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, it's sharp, man. It's, I spent good money on it, but, I wanted something big and safe, because I'm big, and my balance sucks. I admit, like, I'm a klutz, so, but for some reason, with those tree stands, I was like a monkey, like that, I could swing around, spin around in the seat, especially ones where they used to have the ladder that would just come up and just curve, and that was your seat at the very top, and I remember spinning all the way around in one of those, hooking my leg in around it to keep me locked in so I'm anchored so I couldn't fall to take a rifle shot in the other direction. And never once thought, man, I'm going to fall out of this. Like, nah. That was even before I used safety ropes to pull my gear up. Like, I would climb up with my rifle in one hand, my backpack on, get to the top, take my backpack, or hang my rifle on a hanger, and then take my backpack off, hang it in the dark. Climb up and, like, God, now everything gets pulled up by ropes, and I'm not climbing the stand with all that shit anymore. It's stupid, using one hand to climb your way up, like you're gonna fall.
Same shit. Yeah, I've done the same shit, man. What do you think?
I think that was a good one. All right. 2 hours, yeah.
All right, I didn't tell everybody, like, share, subscribe, give us a thumbs up,
rate
it,
please. Come on, help us out.
Share it. I forgot to say in the beginning.
Yep. If you guys know Uncle Teddy, if anyone out there knows the Nuge, tell him we want him on our show. Help Michigan Brothers out.
Yeah.
And hey, everybody, November 15th, be safe, man.
Yeah.
Be successful. Be safe.
Wear your orange.
Wear your orange.
Whatever your opening day in your state is.
Yep.
Yep. All right. Peace and love, everybody.